I trust you have questions. That's okay. Many times I make these videos and I have questions, even while I'm recording them. It's just one of those things. So, the incident happened on the 2nd of November in 2020. So this was fairly recent, and it involved a train at Diaker Station in, Spijkenisse? It involved that. I'm done. I'm out. I got nothing. Netherlands, you got me. You win. You've won this round. But that place is on the outskirts of Rotterdam, in Holland, in the Netherlands, and yeah, I can't pronounce that word. I'm out. It's fine. It's fine. And the train in question belonged to RET, which stands for Rotterdam's Elektrische Tram, or in English, Rotterdam Electric Tram, which I could have just said to begin with, but it was way funnier for me to try to say it, because everyone kind of gets amused whenever I, in my American dialect, try to speak words that I have no business saying, but it's fine. But they are the main public transport operator in Rotterdam, Netherlands. They have a few different lines of public transit under their watch, buses and trams, as well as metros. A metro is, well, in America we'd probably call them a subway, but same thing, really. Electric railcar units for short-distance commuter service. I had to do some digging to figure out exactly which rail cars we're dealing with today, because none of the news articles told me anything helpful with that, because of course they didn't. They never do, even though there were like 80 articles. Not a single one that I found actually said what rail cars they are, but I believe these are R-types, Series 5500, I want to say, that were manufactured by Bombardier Transportation, who have come up before. They've made a bunch of different kinds of rolling stock. Some good, some bad. They're kind of hit or miss, I've found, with them. But the R-types appear to be fine, like absolutely fine. And I only say that based off of how little I was able to find out about them. Given there's not any lengthy articles complaining about them, they're probably fine. They're subway cars, metro cars. But on that day, again, the 2nd of November 2020, at about 12:30 a.m., they would have done their job, except for the fact that one of the units entered Diaker Station way too fast, slammed through the end buffers, and found its way sitting perilously atop a whale statue. Specifically a statue of a whale's tail. This kind of thing doesn't happen to normal people. Now fortunately, the only person that was on board the train at the time was in fact just the driver. And he was a bit shaken up, for obvious reasons, and he was taken to the hospital but found to be uninjured, just suffering from mild shock from the whole ordeal. The statues are, well, whale tail sculptures. That's literally what they're called. The sculptures had been there a while, created 20 years prior by Martin Strutz? Yes? Yes? No? Possibly. I don't know, I gave it a shot. And it was the only reason why the train didn't fall 30 feet into the water below, because the Diaker Station is elevated, as you've probably noticed by now. The artist was actually interviewed about the incident and said he was incredibly shocked that the sculpture was able to hold the train at all, because it was not made of material that was meant to hold this kind of weight, like, at all. This is a multi-ton train unit we're talking about here. The whale sculpture is meant to support its own weight, nothing more. So why didn't it collapse? Well, there's a couple reasons for it. For one, the train isn't completely on the whale sculpture. As you can see in the pictures, the rear portion is still on the main platform, so its full weight isn't completely on the whale statue. Additionally, like I said, the only person on board was the driver. If there had been passengers on board, this may have been different, because passengers add quite a bit of weight to any train. I mean, if you think about it, let's ballpark it and say the average weight of all the passengers combined apiece would be, I don't know, we'll have to factor in children, so let's just say 150 pounds. Let's just go with that. 150 pounds per person, on average. These cars can hold 30 or 40 people. We're talking at least 5,000 pounds, if not more, that was not on board the train at the time. Afterwards, the authorities were a little miffed as to how to remove the train safely, eventually settling on a crane, which does seem like the most logical way to go, and the whale sculpture was absolutely fine. The train suffered damage. I couldn't figure out exactly what happened to the unit, but looking at it, I would give an educated guess to say it was probably repaired, as it doesn't look total to me. And if it is a 5500 like I think it is, these are not that old, but again, I don't know that for sure because none of the articles I found specifically say what happened to the unit after the crash. But what exactly caused the incident, you may be wondering? Why did the train overrun the platform and slam through the barrier? Well, it's actually one of the most simple explanations I've ever had to go into. Based off of the investigation, it was completely the driver's fault. When he entered the platform, he was doing 57 kilometers an hour. The speed limit for that area is 35 kilometers per hour. He simply couldn't stop the train in time. And he's rather fortunate that not only did he survive, but that there was no one on board that could have been hurt by his mistake. As for what happened to him, well, based on what I figured out, he was reminded of the rules he failed to follow and was fired, which makes sense to me. That seems like a completely reasonable course of action in this situation. I mean, that was totally his fault. The only argument anyone might have is that had the lines had positive train control, the metro would have been automatically slowed down and the incident would have never happened. But also, the driver has to know that there isn't positive train control, and therefore he should be responsible enough to not go blaring into the station way too fast and then wind up sitting atop a whale statue, of all places. This made international news, it was so ridiculous. And that's why, even though it's fairly recent, I absolutely had to discuss it, because I feel like this is probably the only time anything like this has ever occurred, or will occur. But I'm gonna knock on wood there, because Lord knows I've talked about enough ridiculous stuff to know better to assume that this could be the only time that something like this could happen. Till next time, this is Darkness. I bid you all a fond farewell.